Well, good morning everyone. It is the first weekend, the first Saturday that we have been in Montana for our first contract. And as you can see behind me, it's snowing. Believe it or not, they actually are going into their spring season. But the first weekend we're here, they had a big cold front come through and we are getting snow dumped on us. And so they're calling for probably about half a foot. The temperature right now is 17 degrees. The real feel is actually -3. And so today's video, I'm just going to kind of go over winter camping and how we are surviving here in Montana while it's this cold. So one of the first tips I have for you guys today is your water source. And so typically in our RV, we just have a drinking water hose that we hook up to a filter and then hook up to the RV. And that's what gives us our running water. But as you can see, when it's below freezing and there's snow on the ground, we can't do that. And so what we choose to do to keep it from freezing, keep that hose from freezing up and then we have no water, is we actually fill up our fresh water tank. And so our fresh water tank is in here. And then you can fill it up here with this gravity feed, or you can hook it up to the city inlet and fill it there. But we choose to fill up our fresh water tank. It's pretty big, and so that can last us for quite a while. And then what that does is that water tank is inside our RV. All of our tanks are covered, so under the rig, you know, they're not exposed like some travel trailers. So if yours is like that, make sure you check. But we just keep it in there because it'll stay warmer. And so as we're heating the RV, that keeps all those pipes and that water from freezing up instead of having a line. Now, our situation, we are actually pretty far from the hookups. And so if the hookups were a little bit closer and you wanted to use your water hose, some options that you have is to get some heat tape, wrap your hose in it, and then put some foam over it and then tape that to insulate your water hose. And you would need to do that from the spigot all the way to where it goes into your city inlet on your RV, so that wouldn't freeze. And what that heat tape does is once it's below 39 degrees, it starts heating up and just keeps that hose nice and warm above freezing, and then it won't freeze. And so that is an option. It wasn't an option for us because we're too far away from our hookups. Even though we use our fresh water tank to hold all of our running water, we still have to fill it up every once in a while. So what we don't want is this water spigot right here to freeze up. And so what we've done to avoid that is we got some heat tape, that same heat tape you're going to put on your freshwater hose or your stinky slinky if you don't want those to freeze up. And so I'll open up the electrical pedestal here. And so as you can see here, hooked into our 20 amp is that electric tape, and it goes over to the hose. And so from in here, there's a little thermostat, and that's going to measure how cold that pipe is, because there's a pipe from the ground all the way up. And so then we took that electric tape and we strung it around the spigot here, all the way even up to the top, to the very nozzle part of it. Okay, and then we wrapped it in this, tubing foam. It's almost like a swimming pool noodle. It splits in half, and then we just clamped it over it. And then I just took some duct tape and secured it to it. And so that's going to help insulate that water spigot and really just keep it from freezing. The second tip, you're going to have to do something with your sewage. And so your gray water tank, your black water tank. Ours is in this compartment here, and it's pretty safe in there. It's also insulated all in there, and so it keeps it, as long as we have the RV warm, it's all warm. It won't freeze up because no one wants a poopsicle, so try to avoid that. Typically when we're hooked up, we do have our sewer hose hooked up to the sewage inlet, but again, like the hose, that would be a frozen mess, and it's too far. So what we've done here in Montana, which it's been a little bit unique, like I said, since we're so far away from the hookups, is we've used a Me and Megan call it a poop tank or poop wagon. Sometimes they're called a blue boy because they're blue. But anyway, we fill this up with our gray water, with our black water every so often, and then I roll it over to our hookups and then dump it there. And so that avoids a big mess of like a 50-foot, stinky slinky out here. And it's a lot cleaner that way, and it won't freeze. So if you do have your hookups a little bit closer and you want to use that, you're full-time RVing, you're in a spot for a long time, it is nice not to have to wheel that back and forth. You're going to have to insulate that too. And so I've seen people take flat styrofoam, like I'm going to show you how we used to help insulate some things, and kind of build like a little triangle around their hose. And then they put that heat tape on their hose also to keep it warm so it won't freeze. Like I said, no poopsicles here. We don't want that. So tip number 3. As you can see, when I open up the hatch to our black and gray tank, we have a piece of styrofoam here. I actually went out and bought this some of the first days that we were here in Plains, Montana. It's a small town. They have quite a bit, but not that much. So we went into Missoula. That's the next biggest town. They have the Home Depot, the Lowe's, the typical stuff. And we bought some insulation because we knew this winter storm was coming, so we wanted to be prepared. So I bought some of this flat styrofoam. It's pretty thick, and I actually had to tape it up. But what I wanted to do was just help insulate our doors a little bit. They're insulated, but I wanted a little bit more. And then I also put some down in the bottom of this hatch of our gray and our black tank here, so we didn't have anything freezing up on us. I've also done this in the freshwater tank on some of the doors there, just to give it a little more insulation. Think about doing that. That'll help keep things from freezing. The other thing is, if you look in here, you can see that we have a heat lamp in here. And so what that's doing is it's giving just enough heat off to help things from freezing up. And so I highly suggest putting some heat lamps in here. It'll keep your dump valves from freezing up. And then we have another one over in the fresh water tank. So we put a big heat lamp in there to keep those pipes from freezing. Now those heat lamps are actually going to pull quite a few watts. And so it might be smart to actually run an extra extension cord to some of your heat lamps like I've done. You can see kind of under the RV, I have an extension cord, and that runs all the way to our pedestal. So that is most of the tips I'm going to give you for the outside of the RV. Let's go inside where it's nice and warm because I'm freezing out here.
Our next tip for winter weatherproofing your RV is weather seal for your door. Now our door had been kind of bent up, we think, from a previous Mr. Bumper fender, from a previous fender bender, and that meant that this upper corner was letting through tons and tons of cool air. There's even been times when it was snowing that I could see the little snowflakes coming in through that corner. So we knew that's something that we had to seal up. We just took a little strip of weather seal, put it up in that corner, and now there's no draft through here. It's way better than it used to be. Another tip is our rugs. So what we did was we bought some rugs to keep our feet warm. We can really tell where there isn't a rug, it's really, really cold. So we bought an area rug for our living room, and that has helped a lot. And then we also bought a runner to go through our hallway. It's helped a ton. Keeps your feet warm. Maybe get some slippers too. And then what we didn't have to buy was this little kind of entryway mat that was gifted to us by my aunt, and we love it. It says our name on it, and it talks about all the different campgrounds that we're going to go to, but it's right in front of our kitchen sink, and that keeps your feet warm while you're doing the dishes. The next tip is to drip the faucets. We have our kitchen faucet, our bathroom faucet, and then we even have our shower that we drip. So the reason why we do that is just to keep the water moving through the faucet The thing that you don't want is stagnant water in really, really cold weather, because that will just freeze up and it could potentially burst your pipes, and then you have a bigger problem on your hands. So what we've done throughout the night when we're not using the water, and then also during the day when the temperatures are really low, like today, like 18 degrees, feels like 3 degrees, crazy stuff like that, we just keep them dripping. Another way to keep your RV warm is to keep your curtains closed. Now sometimes that's not fun because then you can't see the amazing scenery you might be parked outside of, but it really is helpful. We have blackout shades, and we also have just a sheer curtain. We find that the blackout shades really, really help with keeping the RV insulated. These windows let in so much air that keeping that shade pulled just really helps keep you warm and keeps it out. We haven't done RVing in the summer yet, but I'm assuming that they'll also be really good at reflecting the sunlight and keeping the inside of the RV cool when we're wanting to stay cool in the hot, hot summer. Having curtains is especially helpful for our big window, our big windshield up front. We had these custom made by a friend who's amazing, and it has another material that is kind of like our blackout shade, and then a denim material on top of it that blocks out so much sunlight as well as cool air. If those were open, this whole place would be freezing. Another thing that has really helped us with winter camping is having electric heaters. We have one up front at the front of the RV in our living room, and one all the way at the back in our bedroom to kind of keep airflow, warm air in both areas. What these do is they save us on propane. Propane is really expensive, and our heater in the RV definitely works, but it just uses a lot of propane. So we're supplementing with these 2 electric heaters. They do a great job. We recommend these small and powerful ones because large ones in a small space can make it feel cluttered. We also recommend paying attention to how many watts it pulls, because you have to make sure you stay under your 30 or 50 amps, whatever you have for your own RV. But so far, both of ours work at the same time. And then when they aren't able to keep up, we still have our heater on in the RV, and it comes in and supplements that warm air when the electric heaters can't keep up. If having 2 electric heaters is blowing your electrical breaker, then a good idea that Ryan has mentioned is to just plug in an extension cord into the outdoor pedestal, electrical pedestal box, whatever that is. Run it all the way through your front door of the RV and just hook the second heater into that extension cord. That will keep you from blowing the breaker and give you a little bit more ampage to work with. So the big challenge with winter camping is not only keeping yourself warm, but really the major issue is keeping all of your pipes from freezing. And so the benefit of keeping the inside nice and warm is not only that you aren't having to stay cuddled up in blankets all the time, it's that all of the pipes that are housed inside of the RV, like the pipes running to your kitchen sink or the pipes running to your bathroom sink and your shower faucet, are all staying above freezing. So you don't have to worry about them in here. All you have to worry about is the hose that's outside getting you water from the spigot, and maybe your water tanks that might be underneath the RV.
All right, that is all the tips that we have for you today about winter camping. Winter camping is totally possible and even adds some adventure. So definitely don't let that scare you away from going to different parks in the winter time. It's definitely possible. You just got to take some extra precautions.
It's so fun to watch storms come through town, because even if it doesn't snow down here in the valley, it usually snows up on the mountain. And so each time you look up on the mountain, it looks different, which is so cool. It's crazy to see the landscape changing. And I can't wait until the weather clears so that we can see the mountain and see what it looks like.
And if you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell to get notified of when our videos come out, which are on Sunday at 6 p.m. We try to keep to that schedule the best we can. Also, leave us a comment if we forgot anything about winter camping, or if you do something unique. We love reading those and learning from that, and learning from the community that we've been able to be a part of here on YouTube. And until next time, see ya!